And welcome back to Farm Bureau's Voices of Agriculture. You know, for over 60 years, research at the University of Tennessee's Ag Research and Education Center at Milan has been a game changer for farmers everywhere. And this summer, they celebrated the 32nd Milan No Teal Crop Production Field Day.
Innovation, advancement, and new information, all things that come out of Milan No Teal Field Day.
It's a very important deal, and particularly for our producers, though. That's really what it's about.
Blake Brown with the UT Ag Research and Education Center at Milan is one of the organizers of the Milan No Teal Field Day. After several years of not having the event in person, Brown says it's great to be back and informing farmers on new technologies and advancements in agriculture.
Really, all we produce is information, and our goal is to get the best information, research-based, non-biased information in the hands of our producers who can use it. It's not just for our farmers. Ultimately, it benefits all of us, and I mentioned that in my comments. The work we do here at these centers benefits every Tennessean every day.
Brown points out that many of the advancements in no-till practices were discovered right here in Milan at the Ag Research Center, and has changed the way not just Tennessee farmers, but all farmers plant crops.
I was fortunate. I started working here when I was 16, back in 1980. And at that point, we were trying to figure out how to plant soybeans in the wheat stubble. And with the old Alice Chalmers planters, we didn't have great equipment. We didn't have the herbicides we have now. And I can remember coming back to the shop and hanging every weight we could find off the tractors onto the planter to make it go into the ground, hanging barbell weights on markers so we could see where we were going, and just all kinds of stuff. And to see where we have come from that start has been pretty neat. Only 4% of our acres in the state are farmed with the old conventional system that we did on all the acres 40 years ago. And that's neat. We're saving lots of topsoil. So now we're trying to figure out how do we incorporate all kinds of new agricultural technologies into a no-till system.
We're leading the country when it comes to implementation of no-till.
Senior Vice Chancellor of UTIA, Dr. Carrie Castile, might be new to her position, but she recognizes the importance of ag research and wants to make it even better.
My goal is really to make sure that the research that we're doing is impactful, that you can see immediate use just like we are now, and making sure that what we are doing, again, results in real life solutions. And if we're going to experiment with things, this is the place to do it. You want to do it on a research station. Before we go out and promote any of these varieties or any different cropping systems or anything like that, this is the place to do it.
This type of ag research is so important that even Governor Bill Lee makes it a priority to show up to Milan No Till to show his support.
This has been going on since 1981, and it is an example and a reminder of how research in agriculture changes the entire industry.
A big part of the research being presented at this year's Milan No Teal Field Day evolves around the term climate-smart agriculture. It's a study that researchers like Dr. Forbes Walker with UT have been studying for decades.
When we're talking about climate-smart agriculture, we're talking about many of the practices we've been talking about forever. Here, Milan started, 1981, for controlling erosion. So minimum soil tillage was what started in the early 80s. We did that for erosion control, then we did that for water quality. And recent years we've been talking about conservation agriculture, we've been talking about soil health, now we're talking about regenerative agriculture, now we're talking about climate smart agriculture. It's basically it's many of the same practices.
And the farmers attending the field day agree this event and the information passed along is critical in advancing agriculture and feeding a growing population.
Been no-till a long time, but also just enjoy being around, meeting people, talking to everybody, catching up on good times, good stories. Did get to see a little bit of rain, so that's a good thing, good blessing.
We just like the information, they have and the different things, and it's we've always used it, and we hadn't been in a long time.
One of the new catchphrases coming out this year is climate smart. It's another sustainability topic, and I think farmers are already climate smart, because if we didn't have good climates, then we know our crops won't produce what they used to. So climate affects us, but I don't think we're not going to be not climate smart. We're not going to go out there and waste stuff. We're going to do the best we can with what we're given. We're going to have to continue to produce more products every year to be able to feed the amount of people that are that's continuing to grow in the country and across the world. And so they're not making any more land, so we're going to have to do it through other avenues.
And the way to make that happen is by continuing events like Milan No Teal and continuing the research.
This was our 60-year anniversary, and I said that's helping us set us up for the next 60 years.
Well, even though Tennessee farmers are predominantly using no-till practices in their operations now, still a lot of research being conducted and great information shared around no-till and how agriculture continues to protect our natural resources.